I love men. I love masculinity. I want nothing to do with them approaching me. I'm sick of the bullshit. I'm sick of what I've gone through. I'm focusing on me. It's a whole thing. It's cliche, but it would be difficult for a guy to get through to someone like me.
There's like 10 people in the world who are really at this high value level, right? So the majority of people that we are coming up against are either unaware that they're low value. How do we know that this is all worth it, right? Like even if you end up interacting with this woman who, yeah, she is challenging. She's really freaking challenging. But can she grow? Can she learn? Can you become high value together? Is it a struggle? Like, is that really what we're looking for? Coming up on this week's episode of the Ask Women podcast, we talk about bitchy women and why are they so bitchy? How do we stop them from being so bitchy? And is it okay to want to date bitchy women and how to navigate them once you got them? We have Gianna Rackham on our show, and we're going to break down the female bitch, because the truth is all of us are a little bitchy. All of us are a little human. We got our things going on, but we're not really so horrible once you break through the shell. And we're going to tell you all about it on today's podcast. So keep listening. So hi, Gianna. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about high value women and what that means? We've had a couple of people come on recently saying, I work with high value women. And I'm like, what does that mean?
That's like the new phrase.
Yeah.
It really is. And like, you know, for me, like, I think every human has value, like inherent value. So the term high value to me is really like a woman who has, her heart is open, you know, she's not playing games. She is self-aware. She works on herself, and she's interested in like a real partnership. She's not looking to play games and like be controlled or, you know, talk down to her partner. Like she wants like a real, like authentic relationship, by being like a real authentic woman, you know?
Okay, that's interesting, because when I read high value, I literally just think it means like a high achiever, right? So somebody who's like an alpha female, who's a CEO at a company, or somebody who's, again, who produces high value, who feels high value, and who thinks that they're high value. So that's interesting. That's a totally different definition from what I thought. So those are the women that you work with, or the women that you work with would like to be those women. So I just wanted to clarify.
I would say it's a bit of both. You know, a lot of the women I do work with like are kind of like alpha women. But
you're typing.
There's typing on my end.
Kristen, it's typing.
Oh, could you hear that?
Yeah, go on mute.
Whoops.
Yes.
I was actually
making notes. I know you're making notes, but go on mute. I hear typing.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
All good. So, you know, I do work with like a lot of like high, like achieving, like alpha women. And they kind of are really more at this place where they want to be like more what I refer to as high value, because, you know, they tend to struggle a lot in their relationships.
Okay. So they're not high value yet, but they're aiming to be high value.
Yeah, and I think it really depends on like your definition of high value.
Well, based on the definition that you gave at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
So these are women who want to achieve that,
yeah, 100%.
but who aren't there yet. Okay. And so they want to achieve this because they've had struggles in their past relationships. So they are trying to be more communicative, more open, more calm, less combative, right? But in their past relationships, and I'm filling in blanks for you, but are those the things that have hurt them in past relationships that they don't want to repeat anymore? And they're open to taking the blame for it?
Yeah, like there's definitely self-awareness and self-accountability, even when it's hard. And for some clients, it's harder than others. For some, like I usually experience like two types of women. Like one are the ones that are more like kind of passive and insecure and get more needy in that way. And then in the other camp, I would say are women who are like kind of more combative and aggressive and kind of like have a front where they're like, I'm hot shit, like, you know, like come outdo me. And then they kind of like are a bit emasculating at times, I would say, as like a defense mechanism.
Okay, so tell me more about that and how it like is it a defensive? Because like again, remember this show is for all guys, so I want men to understand like women are exactly the same as men. We put on facades, we put things out there to protect ourselves. So like so guys who are out there dating right now, I've heard them say statements where women say things to them like, okay, do X, Y, and Z first, and then maybe I'll let you ask me out, right? Right? Which I'm sure you
Oh
would
my God.
probably advise against. But then for these guys, it's very defeating. It's emasculating.
Yeah.
It's like, why do I have to go up this freaking hill just to pursue? Like, so can we break some of that down? And when I say break down, I'd love to break down where this woman's potentially coming from, and then what a man could do to 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 not bypass. I don't want to say bypass until I hear what your breakdown is, but
Yeah.
like for a man to actually then like use what's in front of him that he sees to see something else so that he can continue to pursue or at least decide not to pursue.
Right. Um, what I would say that they're working with, to be cliche, like 9 times out of 10, it's daddy issues, to be honest with you. And you know, this, I definitely would fit into this camp, like in the past, where it's like, you know, you have this relationship to men unconsciously where it's like, you don't necessarily like feel trust and safety and respect, like as a default setting. And so you're not like open to men in this like warm, radiant way. And so men, there's this kind of wall that's up that men have to kind of penetrate to even like kind of get to the real you. And a real high value man, in my experience, that's like not going to play games and like knows his value is not going to spend too much time like trying to beat down that wall, and nor should he. Because if he does too much, kind of like put up with her shit, she's not going to respect him.
Right. So what's the middle ground? Because it sounds like a lot of people are putting up walls and then nobody can be with each other. So is there a way for a high value man to look at a woman and say like, you're just doing this because you have freaking daddy issues. Let's like bypass this and get to the
Yeah.
warm stuff. Is there a way to do that? Or is it that this wall doesn't come down for her and it's just going to be a battle?
You know, I would say that there's like equal responsibility on both sides. And so I think, a man, he can take like one step up against the wall, so to speak, and kind of maybe, just kind of hold his confidence. And I'm trying to think of a specific like example for you here, but,
Like the truth is, from your perspective, when a woman says these things, what
mhm.
does she really want from a man?
Honestly, she wants a what I would call a zaddy. She wants a man like she wants a man that she can really respect and feel safe with. And a man that she respects and feels safe with, like, is not going to put up with her shit, but he's also not going to be like toxic towards her either, right?
Right. He's not
So
going to say like, "Don't talk to me like that, you stupid." Right.
yeah, exactly.
He's going to confidently combat that and just say like, "Hey, I know what you're doing. You're not going
Yeah,
to work on me." So I'm saying like, would that be
a
a
hundred
way to?
percent. That would be incredibly probably disarming to that kind of woman in a good way. That would like subconsciously make her feel more safe to be more feminine and open and vulnerable with him.
Interesting. So it's kind of like tackling a bully, right? When it is because
Yeah,
you like, I
yeah.
even say that to my sons, right? If somebody's bullying you, you go, "Oh yeah, I am chunky. Oh, look at this. Oh, okay. Then let's talk about you." Right. It's like, let's drop the barrier, own what's being put out against you as a, a weapon, laugh at
Hmm.
it or not be affected by it, and then move
Yeah.
forward. So it sounds like, those tactics kind of work with these women as well. But
Hmm.
at at a certain point, like if these women have not done the work, are they just continue like are they just a handful and a lot? Like
Yes.
yes, okay. And so
Yes.
you're working with these women to not be a lot and to own their own shit.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's like your partner, like somebody that ends up being your partner, shouldn't be your unconscious, like emotional punching bag, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, the women that I work with, a lot of the times, like when they do struggle with those kinds of things, I'm helping them kind of practice just like letting down their walls a bit more and like not be afraid to be like more open and more warm. And like especially like warm because it's like it can be such an unconscious thing, like even in just like casual like dating scenarios or like at a bar or anything like that, where it's like when a woman is more guarded in that like what I would call kind of like masculine energy, and she wants to be more in that like feminine warmth, she'll even have like a bit of like a resting bitch face. Like it's just like in the body language. It's like I'm too like hot for you, I'm too good for you, I'm too cool for you. And like when a man can like even just like on an energetic like level within himself hold his own against her and not feel intimidated and not feel insecure, and not try to like earn her approval or validation, and just even be willing to kind of like penetrate it, that is like the best thing that you can do. But like if you try too much to penetrate it, you're not in control of the situation.
Right. Because then you're trying to appease somebody.
Mm-hmm,
right?
100%.
So I'd say I fall into that category. Like I'm not the person with a resting bitch face, say like saying, you know, tap dance for me and then I'll give you
Right.
attention. But I like what you said before, like that resonates with maybe the older version of me, but something I definitely did in my past where I didn't know how to get into my warm feminine side most often because I was so used to being in this masculine space. My husband was the first person who was actually able to get me into that feminine space, but then I'd bounce back to the masculine space quite often, and it was challenging. So,
Yeah.
like for other women who, you know, can still be kind and nice, but don't actually know how to get like to release that alpha. What are some things that these women would be looking for? Like, I have the things in my head that I would list, but like what are some things that these women would be looking for so that they can sort of breathe and just feel like light and feminine without being so bitchy?
So on a deeper level, I think it is about kind of looking at your unconscious responses and just like creating some level of self-awareness there, right? So it's like the kind of resting bitch face energy that I like is what I like to call it. Like that stems back to a part of yourself that like typically maybe doesn't feel confident or doesn't feel safe, and you feel like that's how you have to be. And to, you know, confidence is great, but like real confidence is often quiet, right? It doesn't really have anything to prove. It's not afraid to be a bit more open and warm because you're not afraid of encountering people and like letting people in because you feel confident and safe in being able to handle that. And so sometimes I think it's good to really look at like what insecurities are actually happening under the surface for you. And like maybe there's like some past trauma associated with it. But at the end of the day, like you can look at those things and then it's really just a practice of like, hey, like.
And I love that. Sorry, I'm going to say, but for the guys, like, so for the guys that are listening, like how can they pull out that side? So yes, I love that advice. I think it's great, but like what could guy, because okay, so if you're looking at somebody like me, or even if you're looking at somebody who does have this resting bitch face, which you're saying to men is just right? See, Kristen, huge bitch. But like, but you know, on the other end, there is this soft, gooey female that could be absolutely wonderful, but she's been programmed for so long to have that, you know, facade on. What are like tactical things that men could do around them to help them feel softer? Like even for you hearing like what these women want. So for example, like for me, I like it when I don't feel like I'm the one who has to take charge, right? And because that makes me feel very masculine. And these are things that I do to myself too, to make myself take charge. But having a man kind of say things like, I got this, or I'm taking care of it, like those things just like deflate me.
Yeah.
In the best way possible, right? Deflate that bitch, or deflate that edge that I have, that masculine edge. What are some other things that men can do during the dating phase, in a relationship, or even the beginning approaching phase to like release, like put a smile on Kristen's face so that she's not worried about putting this facade on and protecting herself. She's just trying to enjoy herself with
Show
that
me
man.
a wad of cash.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't hurt. No.
She'd be like, oh, no, I'm smiling from
But I will say this.
Yeah.
I have been, I will say this. I'm someone with a really soft heart, but I've been very, very mistreated by some of my ex-boyfriends. And so I'm at the point now where I have a wall up. I want nothing to do. I love men. I love masculinity. I want nothing to do with them approaching me. I'm sick of the bullshit. I'm sick of what I've gone through. I'm focusing on me. It's a whole thing. It's cliche, but it would be difficult for a guy to get through to someone like me. I have an idea of maybe what that would be, but for someone who's been through, and it's not daddy issues, it's just literally having
Right.
asshole boyfriend issues.
Yeah.
What can a guy do to make me go, oh, he's not one of the rest of the guys that I've chosen to date?
Well, I think that they have to prove that in time. But I think that honestly, just like breaking the third wall of it and like calling it out, whether it's in like a casual setting or, this is something that like my boyfriend does with me that I fucking love. Like when if there's one of the first like incidences where we had like a little tiff before we like got into a relationship and that made me want to get into a relationship with him was he called me out on my shit.
That's 100% what I wanted you to say.
Yeah. And like, so it's like when a man can be like, hey, I get it. You're, you're beautiful and like you don't want some like fuck boy coming up and bothering you. Like, I get it. And I'm not one of those guys. And, and you're just going to have to figure that out. But like, I'd love to buy you a drink if you, or like, here's my number, or like,
or even, why don't you buy me a drink so that, you can see how soft I am, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Whatever spin you want to put on it personally. Yeah. But like, just calling it out.
I think there's so much power in calling things out because it shows how comfortable you are with yourself as a man.
Mm-hmm. And I think it also calls out what you see in the woman. I think like that's always, at least for me,
and we want to be seen.
Yeah. Everybody.
I would love a guy to see and go like, I see
that you have this bitch face on, but you're really a very nice woman.
Yeah, like what happened or something to that extent. And I would go, oh my gosh, he's actually seeing me. And my emotion, he wouldn't hopefully make me cry, but my floodgate.
You probably would. You'd be like, okay, here's what's wrong
I
with
would be
me.
on the floor.
Yeah.
Literally. I'm like, can you pick women up? That's all that matters because I will be on the floor crying constantly. Yeah. But that's... I don't know where I was going with that except for how
no, but you're saying it's important to be seen.
It would be.
Yeah. Like even when guys, as a tool for conversation, when they say, okay, let me see your hand, right? And they read something on your hand or let me tell you something about you. And even we've talked about it before on this show about giving a woman a genuine compliment that isn't about her looks or something she was born with, but rather something she's earned or that is deeply about who she is as a person. Those things have way more meaning. So I love that you just said that because it's about seeing this woman and saying like, I see you're hitting here, you're sitting over here, like you're trying to tell people to stay away from you, but I can tell you really actually want somebody to come up and approach. My name is Greg. Great to meet you. Like that little, it's not going to work every single time, but that little bit of insight, I think will have major impact on many women.
100%. 100%. And like a woman who's not, and like it's not going to work on every woman 100% because not every woman is truly going to be interested. And also like some women are just like so like guarded in their own shit. And that woman might not be worth your time then,
Yeah. Actually, I want to take a break and I want to talk about like how to know when women are not worth your time, like when to sort of cut it off and say like, peace, see you, you're too much work for me. So let's take a quick break here from our sponsors and then we'll come back with Gianna Rackham after this. All right, we are back with Gianna Rackham from Gianna Rackham Coaching. And again, she works with high achieving women, but she also works with men as well on helping them how to become high value individuals that can really function properly in the dating world. But to be honest, it sounds like there aren't that many people who are functioning at a high value right now. A lot of us are at a very low value. So let's talk more about like when the guys that are listening should run for the hills and call it quits, like, and just say, no, this is just not worth it. Like how do you know? Is there a way to know in the beginning if she's worth it? Like, how many times do you have to have a bitch face? Like, look, tell me some guy. And I know you may not know the exact answer, but from your experience with these women, like, what are things that you're seeing that you think that no man should be a part of?
I think when a woman, and honestly, this will happen really early on when she is herself a red flag. She'll get very much in this like kind of bossy energy. And I think her doing that once might be like her way to unconsciously test him. But if she keeps doing that, that's just a combative woman who really kind of needs to take some time for herself, to look at like why she's like kind of blocking herself from a good partner. I would also say, like, on the opposite end of the spectrum, there are women who can kind of function in a way that are really seeking a lot of reassurance, to the point where it interrupts the organic flow of like the dating process, because they just like need a lot of reassurance because there's a lot of insecurities going on, to the point where, and honestly, I think like a real high value man is going to be kind of a little put off by that, because they're going to be like, hey, like I don't like know you yet that well. And then this woman's going to be like probably coming on really strong and all of that. I think an insecure man might be like eating that up.
That is the issue because it's giving them value. Like every time that they sort of crack through this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but like that's only short term. Like in the long run, like when the relationship like settles and the dynamic settles, like she's not going to feel a deeper level of respect and safety in my experience. And especially if she's a woman who works on herself, like in time she'll kind of be like, right. And so if a woman is either like just challenging you a lot consistently early on, red flag. And if a woman is just like really, really set, like dead set on you very early on, I would also say that's probably a red flag.
Huge red flag. So let me ask a question, and I don't know if any of us have the answer for this because I probably don't have an answer for this. But I mean, you work with people. I work with people. Kristen works with people. Everybody that comes onto the show works with people who are not at high value yet. They are striving for it and they're working on it, right? Like, I guess the question is like, how do there's like 10 people in the world who are really at this high value level, right? So the majority of people that we are coming up against are either unaware that they're low value or trying to in some way be high value, but they're still human and they're still going to have shit at the end of the day. Oh,
yeah, totally.
Yeah. So not is it worth dating, but is it really worth like I think being armed with the knowledge that like what I'm trying to get at is like how do we know that this is all worth it, right? Like even if you end up interacting with this woman who she is challenging, she's really freaking challenging, but can she grow, can she learn, can you become high value together? Is it a struggle? Like is that really what we're looking for? Because I'll give you insight into my own relationship. Like my husband and I, bullheaded, so freaking stubborn. Both of us, we're both alphas. We want to be in charge. Yes, he can make me feel feminine at certain times, and that's what I was really attracted to in the very beginning, and still attracted to now. But we butt heads constantly. But one thing we also do is we are also committed to continuing to grow and improve and figure it out. Even if we're not like going to therapy every single week and doing work every single week together, I know that he can see my point and I can see his point at the end of the day. Like there's that little bit there that makes me continue to want to do this with him. Is that ultimately what we're looking for in another person?
See, I think that is a big part of it. And I think like what makes a relationship high value, it's that it's ultimately adding more to your life than taking away. It doesn't mean that it's not going to like take some, but overall, like it gives so much more than it's taking. And that's what I believe, like, like a healthy, freaking great interdependent partnership is. It's give and take. But overall, it's like it's adding more to your life than if you were alone, right? There's more love, there's more warmth, there's more support. There's like a relationship container that challenges you, that helps you grow, right? And it's not perfect. And we have to have that like humility and that self-awareness to be able to know like, hey, like we're all freaking human beings. We're not going to be perfect, and neither is your partner. But at the end of the day, it's like, you are with someone who's overall at your level of value, and however you interpret value in a partner and vice versa, which again is not about perfection. So that's So yeah,
Yeah.
totally worth it.
Yeah. And I hear. And so one thing that I, as a woman, really like, which was a very big challenge in the beginning of our relationship, was that I always felt like, again, taking on this masculine role, I was looking for answers.
Hmm.
And he was okay with it being like subpar, in my opinion, right? That's a very like alpha female thing to think. But since he's become more proactive in the maintenance of our relationship, that's when I can actually breathe more. We're 20 years into a relationship. So this is, and we've taken courses. We have a whole bunch of tools. Most of them were led by me, and that was always very frustrating. And since he has taken on it as a partner, I guess, or like a team member, rather than okay, let's do this, and then he's going to do it and not really participate, but kind of participate.
Hmm.
The switch of he's participating, if not, and if anything, he's being more proactive in that area. That's what I was always looking for from him. So like I'm speaking to the guys who are listening now. Like, yes, you can be open to doing therapy with your partner, but you finding a therapist and you actually saying and coming saying, hey, we have some issues with communication. When we get into fights, like you go into your zone and get triggered, I go into my zone and get triggered. We don't know how to figure this out. Let's go and talk to someone. I found this therapist who would be great at that. Not like, hey, now you go find a therapist, but like I found this therapist. I'd love for us to go together and see if it's something that we can actually work on together and get some tools. Like for me as a woman, that helps me fall into my feminine, and that would be what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I want to switch from Marnie's total dysfunction.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Marnie. Because some of
To
us
my
are very
fucked up
highly
relationship.
functional people, saying that so ironically. But I want to switch over to something that you wrote in the notes about something you could speak to,
Hmm.
because there are, for the guys out there, there are normal women, and there are,
Yeah.
women without resting bitch face.
Yes.
And you mentioned how high value women, or just women, want to be treated during the courting phase. And I think guys are super lost in the courting phase. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
so intimidating to them. So, can you paint a picture of what that should look like ideally?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. I love this question. So what I would say is that overall, like in the courting phase, like a high value woman, or at least a woman who's capable of being high value, right, and is willing to let down the wall, is willing to like reel in the insecurities and stuff, right? Um, she needs a man who is going to be consistent yet not needy, and she needs a man who's going to
But what does that
um,
look like? Guys have no idea what that looks like.
So one thing that women that I work with constantly get frustrated about from men is um, when a man is not very direct and clear in asking her out in the beginning and like following up with her after like the first couple of dates. Because when they don't do that, there's a fine line between being confident and like not being like coming on too strong or whatever, and like just making the woman feel like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, do you even know what you're doing? Do you even know what you want? Like, are you just wasting my time? Do you even like me? Right? Like when you leave a woman like in that headspace because you weren't clear in asking her out, and like you didn't follow up with her, and you haven't been like relatively consistent in your communication, which doesn't necessarily mean like daily texting or anything like that and pen paling it up. But like when you don't do that, like that is just one of the most frustrating things for women. So if you can just be like consistent while also still living your own life, without love bombing either, right? You don't need to be hanging out all day every day. You don't need to be like texting her all day, right?
And
When
that's
you
a
don't
red
really know
flag.
her. Yeah, it is. And you don't need to be doing these really, really long phone calls very early on. If you can find that middle ground, like you're gonna be in such a good spot if the woman does like you.
Okay, so then going beyond that, the being consistent, what does the escalation part look like? Because I talk to so many guys who are confused, and they just don't know when is it appropriate to start shifting into more of that sexual vibe?
You know, these kinds of things, I think it's okay to be, like, to be honest, like, I think it's okay to be sexual, like, pretty freaking early. But I think
But
that,
meaning what sexual? Like, so I want to define that as well. So
okay.
like they
30?
like take their penis out on the
Yeah,
date on the
yeah.
first
That's
date.
considered
No.
first
That is
level flirty to
sexual.
me.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like
Yeah,
sexual.
fair.
Like, what is
level.
that? What does sexual mean? That they're talking about sex? That they
Are
have
just
like what does it
flirting.
mean?
Fair
What does it mean?
question. No.
Yeah.
So I would say like early on, like when you like saying kind of like flirtatious, like sexual comments kind of thing, like where you're kind of like being flirty and being like, trying to think of a specific example here, but like early on, like maybe like complimenting her in a way where it's like, oh my God, like you are like freaking, you're a smoke show or whatever, right? Like just being like,
Like, yeah, yeah. Kind of
So
just
so you're
expressing what they're
switching it.
actually feeling into
You're
like, I
switching
can't
it to
stop
be
looking at you.
yeah.
Or
You're
what have
switching
you.
it. So like, hold on, I want to read this to you because the definition of flirting is this: flirting is a way to show interest in someone or something without serious intent. So when you're saying it becomes sexual is when you switch it from without serious intent to intent. Intent means I'm attracted to you. Intent means maybe I'd like to see you naked later on this evening. Intent means I'd like to date you, right? So like that you're switching it from there's nothing sexual about this. I'm being playful with you to now there's intent and the intent is there I see you in a different category. Is that what it means by then putting it into this category of being more sexual or just having intent behind it?
I mean, I think that there can be intent behind it, to be honest, because there are women who are completely okay with being like even having sex early on, right?
Yeah.
But it's like if you're just doing that, it's not so much about like, oh, wait, don't do that, but it's like what you're doing alongside of it. I think matters more than whether or not that's there. Um, yeah, does that make
What
sense?
Yeah, it does. And what should you be doing alongside of that if you guys are actively engaging in some of those activities? Is it just
Um,
still consistency?
I would say consistency, but also like showing interest, like outside of like sexuality and like flirtation in that way. Like, how's your day going? Like,
Yeah,
oh
wanting to
yeah,
get to know them, but still, when they're together, you like hug, you touch her hands, you touch her shoulders,
yeah,
you put your
exactly.
hands around her body. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's a mix of both rather than just like okay, let's get sexual, let's talk about sex, let's right instead of just being heavily
yeah,
focused
100%.
on getting in her
hmm
pants.
Yeah, exactly. And like what I will say is like, and this is something I've seen too with women who kind of act like alpha. Sometimes like when they feel covertly like insecure, they'll like start leading with their sexuality. Um, and so like I feel it can just get like really messy and confusing. So I feel like for men, like if you are interested in a serious thing with this woman, but also even if you just like actually want her to really respect you and be interested in you regardless of where it goes, like
Yeah,
do not just be sexual with her. Like don't just be sexual with her. Like because even if she's responding to it because maybe she's insecure or and she actually wants more or maybe she is okay with it, but like she'll ultimately like deep like on a subconscious level trust you more and be more attracted to you like if you're actually like
if you bounce around.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because I'll say I'm one of those girls, or I was one of those girls. I relied heavily on my sexuality. Like that's how I joked around with people, and I was very comfortable talking about sex. Did I have sex with anybody? No. Like
Right. Total prude.
like yeah, total prude, kissing bandit. Like did not let anybody in, and they had to jump through hoops to be able to do anything. So
To get into
like
the hoop.
yeah, to get into the hoop exactly.
Mhm.
So that is interesting that you pointed that out. That like sometimes when people are uncomfortable, they do use their sexuality when around the opposite sex or even around the same sex because that's an area of empowerment, confidence, and comfort that could be false for
Mhm.
them.
Do you think
Interesting.
that women, when they are leading with their sexuality, like you said, it's something to do perhaps with an insecurity, but do you think that they feel uncomfortable because it is more of a masculine role to initiate sexually, or are women cool with it generally?
I think that it really it's nuanced, to be honest with you, because like to just share this like because it's just a really good example. Like me and my partner, like we going into that, I thought we were just like gonna be like bang buddies basically, and like I wanted that, I was good with it, like we had like a genuine like friendship, and then I was like, I'm gonna get some good dick, like let's go, you know, and like, and I was okay with that. And it wasn't from insecurity. It wasn't from like I'm compensating in some way. If anything, like out of insecurity, I would shy away from sexuality in the past. That was like more of a pattern for me. So it's honestly a nuanced answer, and it really depends on the person, like where they're at and like what they want, you know?
And what tipped you into wanting his tip? More than just
More than
once
his
in a while.
Okay. So, you know, to be honest, like, so we connected through work, and I just instantly like admired how confident he was, and how he was just doing this creative, bold thing for his podcast. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. And he wasn't like creepy or cringy. And so I was like, oh, cool. Like I'm comfortable. Like I respect this person. And then it just like naturally kind of evolved, I guess. But there was just like this element of like respect and fun, but he didn't like creep me out either. And so I was like,
Wait, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
In the beginning, when you were just getting some good dick, that's so funny that you said that. I love that. So yes, exactly. Like during that, and you would just have sex, would you just like leave afterwards, or would you ever be like, oh, he's actually kind of cute? Like, would you be hoping for more, or were you like leave and then it just shifted into something else?
You know, so it didn't actually happen that way. That was like my plan, but like, so him and I were living in different parts of the country, and like, I tend to have this pattern where I like pick men up from the internet for some reason. It's just how it worked out. I don't know.
What a predator!
Yeah, seriously.
Run away and lock away your men. But yeah, so we were in different places, and so we kind of had a little like horny pen pal relationship. But we also had a lot of like side conversation that was just like, oh shit, like there is like real like compatibility and connection and chemistry here. And that just like organically happened for both of us. And like, to be honest, like I was very hesitant to be getting into a relationship just because of where I was at personally. So for me, like as a woman, like a rule that I have and that I share with my clients is like, you know, for women in general, especially if they lean more anxious, I find they're not very good at being able to have sex with a man and not get attached to him, or be sexual and not get attached. But for me, like I'm pretty good at that. And like I also go into stuff like that with my eyes open, where I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm not going to like pretend and delude myself that like, oh yeah, this is leading into a relationship. Like even if a man is like being sexual and being like kind and consistent and genuinely interested, because I tend to be on the more cautious, like you prove it to me through your actions, like not through like some couple of weeks of like good words, you know? And so yeah. So for me, like we were like horny long distance, kind of thing. And then, it just kind of like naturally progressed alongside of it.
I didn't know we were having a dude on today's show.
I'm so old. So funny. I did a master class last night, and she kept using abbreviations. I was like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, you get out of the loop with that stuff. I should keep you up to date.
She used PR was one. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? In IRL, I knew there was like a few other ones too. Where I was like, oh my god, I'm so old right now. Like I love that I'm interrupting you, but I love PR. I'm like public relations. I have no idea.
I didn't know that one either.
I still don't know it. I have to go back to the video and watch what it was. It was something that I don't even know. She said it twice, and I was like, oh, well, it's over my head. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. I will say, like, staying on TikTok keeps me, like, in the know with all that stuff, I feel like.
100%. We actually have somebody coming on in the next couple of weeks who, like, literally is going to walk us through every term that is used and explain it. This is just selfishly for me. I brought them on. So
love it.
Like, yeah, I need to have them on. Sorry, I interrupted you in what you're saying, but yes, continue. I don't even know what you were saying. I really interrupted you.
No, it's okay.
It was a horny thing, a long distance horny.
a horny,
And then
a
Marnie and I both
horny.
went crazy. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was like a horny pen pal situation with like a genuine but we also just like had this like real like mental emotional like chemistry happening too alongside of it that was like psychological. And so by the time, we did technically like have sex before we got into a relationship. But we had like talked about like before going into that, and that was just circumstantial. It's like, you know, travel takes forever and scheduling and all that. But you know, we had talked about like, oh, like do we want to be in a relationship? And he was like very adamant on his side about like, you know, like wanting that. And so this is so funny, but like literally, and like maybe TMI, but it's hilarious. Literally, like right after we had sex for the first time, I was like, okay, let's be in a relationship.
Okay. Well, he was good.
Like, okay, I'm ready.
He was very good. Okay, got it. That completed it for you as well, where you're like, okay, I've got this, and now we have good sex with each other. So you're like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't hurt.
Oh, I hope it didn't hurt.
No, yeah.
I mean, it hurt in like the good ways.
Exactly. All right. So we are going to wrap up this show because I think we got everything that we could hope for from this podcast with you, Gianna. Thank you so much for coming on. So do you want to tell people where they can go find out more information about you if they do want to learn how to step it up and become high value?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. So you can come and follow me. I'm really active on Instagram at Gianna Lemon Light. You can also follow me on Facebook at Gianna Rackham, and you can also go to my website, giannalightworker.com.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, that is our show, folks. And thank you so much for listening. Kristen, do you have a new website? I don't want to say the wrong website for you.
KristenandChillDating.com. It was just Kristen and Chill before. So yeah, but the website's made over. It's and there's some free guides and stuff on there that people should go download. And
amazing.
Yeah,
so
KristenandChillDating.com.
if you want more advice on how to banter with women. You can check me out on winggirlmethod.com. And you can continue to listen to us because apparently we've been doing this for 13 years now. So you can go and download every single one of our freaking shows that we've done over the past 13 years and listen forever and ever. But we prefer you actually got out and dated instead of listening forever and ever. But thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you think that this information will be helpful for anybody else out there, please go and share this episode or our show with other people. New episodes of our podcast come out every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next week.